Hey everyone, Steve Powell here. I'm going to cut right to the chase. Someone just sent me an article tonight. I actually had to get up in the middle of the night and make this a video because I think this is so urgent, okay, to pray. If you remember back in June, okay, of this year, Pastor Dana Coverstone of Kentucky, had a video go viral. And it was about a dream, okay, that he had in which when we came to the month of November, after the election, the fist hit the calendar exploded, and he saw in the dream, okay, a coalition of UN troops, Russian troops, and Chinese troops, okay, on the ground in the US, okay? And he had already had several dreams up to that point that had literally come to pass. So, in some of these cases, dreams are symbolic, but in other cases, you can have night visions, okay? Like Daniel had and other people in the Bible. And night visions are usually more literal. So there's some of his dreams that have crossed over, I believe, into night visions, and they've actually literally come to pass. And this is one of them where people have been praying and people have been looking at this all year long now. Okay, so I actually got the privilege of meeting Pastor Dana Coverstone, ministering with him in the month of October, just before the election. And he told me that video, okay, back in June, was the #1 viral video on Facebook in all the world this year. Facebook actually contacted him, told him it was the #1 viral video. Pretty crazy. So I believe the Lord definitely breathed, especially on that video in particular, okay, and it was a real warning. Now, there were several people, okay, that said, oh, this isn't literal, this is just symbolic, okay? I felt from the beginning, no, that there was a real literal warning here that we needed to heed and we needed to pray about. Well, now reports are beginning to come in, you guys. I kid you not, that the U.S. Navy, okay, is gathering a huge force, okay, on the East Coast and the West Coast of our nation, presumably to defend our nation, and both Chinese troops and the fleet, the Russian fleet, and UN, okay, fleets and troops are all moving right now in massive numbers. And I just want to turn this around here, okay? Give me 1 second. And I want you guys to see this. Ominous U.S. positioning, okay, naval vessels off East and West Coast, massive troop movements, okay? So they get right into it here, okay? They say over the past 4 days, there's been massive movements of troops, equipment, and supplies within the continental U.S., okay, CONUS. Today, Tuesday, the U.S. Navy is positioning aircraft carriers and their strike groups off both the U.S. East and West Coast. It appears that we are preparing to defend ourselves from an invasion. China, see they're posing the question, China. So the article goes on and it specifically details, okay, specific troop movements and different aircraft that are moving and different ground vehicles that are being moved all over. So it just goes into a bunch of movement that's happening with the U.S. forces. But let me just scroll down here. Okay, this right here, check this out. It says, word in intelligence circles says that if the Supreme Court voids any or all of the November 3rd election due to the massive fraud and violations of the U.S. Constitution with changes to election laws, the lawless extension of voting for weeks, in violation of 3 U.S.C. 1 and 2, the Democrats are planning on asking the United Nations to invade to depose Trump as a dictator. There is also word within intelligence circles that the states of California, Oregon, and Washington, plus New York, might actually try to secede from the Union if Trump gets 4 more years, and may need to be forcibly brought back under U.S. control the same way renegade southern states were handled back in the 1860s Civil War. Okay? So they go on here, okay, and they say China, listen to this, China and Russia are deploying their naval assets in such a way that transit to the U.S. would not take long. China is positioning out in the Pacific, and just this morning, the British revealed that they have been tracking the entire Russian northern fleet off the British coast this month as the Russians head out into the Atlantic for something. See that? So I want you to watch this clip from Dana Coverstone. This was his viral, a clip from his viral video, okay, that went viral on Facebook in June, the end of June, somewhere around June 25th. And I'll come back right at the end of this and give just a little more interpretation and some prayer points on what I believe the Lord's saying right now.
I saw monuments. I saw Washington, D.C. burning. I saw Washington, D.C. blazing. I saw fires everywhere. I saw people being rounded up. I saw Chinese and Russian soldiers on the ground. And Russian soldiers were telling the Chinese soldiers to go and pick up these people, round up these people, secure this quadrant, secure this area. I saw blue helmets of the UN. I saw military things taking place. I also saw no sign of President Trump. I saw no sign of leadership in Washington, D.C. But the vultures that I had seen were now like gargoyles, and they were 10 feet off the ground, 10 to 15 feet off the ground. And they were just attacking people mercilessly. I saw people hiding in their homes and garages. I saw churches being burned. I saw homes being burned. I saw absolute chaos. And the fist punch on the November of 2020 is what got my attention. And then I heard the words again, brace yourself, brace yourself, brace yourself.
So there you have it, saints. We've been hearing prophecies for many years, okay, actually to this effect. I heard prophecies, from people like Terry Bennett, years ago about how the Lord showed him that the enemy, was set on having the UN invade one day. And we know the Democrats are aligned with the UN. There's people on the record, that are extreme leftists, that are on the record saying they want the UN, to be the global peacekeeping force, the global police. And that's what I believe is ultimately behind the spirit that's behind defund our police, okay? It has nothing to do with black suffrage or Democrats, having a bleeding heart over too many blacks being arrested. It has nothing to do with that. It's all a ploy to create so much chaos and riots and all that to where it creates a vacuum where they want the UN to come in and occupy. And what is that? That's that globalism spirit. It's an antichrist spirit, that's working with Islam. It's working with the spirit behind communism, and it's trying to take down this nation. It's trying to destroy this nation, and it's reaching right now to the nations of the world, okay, in a way like we've never seen before, through technology and through the rise of China. You guys, this is serious stuff. But once again, you've seen the news clippings, the news headlines that are coming out within just the last 24 hours that I showed you there. You saw that video from Pastor Dana Coverstone back in June, okay, of this year. Like I said earlier, people thought, okay, well, that's just figurative, that's just a dream. Well, now we're actually getting news headlines, saints, where there's a possibility of this being real. There's a possibility of this being literal. And we've been warned of this, okay, not just on the prophetic side, but even in the secular world, okay, from people in the world and from the intelligence community. They've been leaking this for a while about talks about what the Democrats are going to do, okay, if Trump manages to pull this off, if Trump manages to stop the steal, okay? So I just want to reiterate Pastor Dana's words once again. Brace yourself, saints. We have massive troop movements, okay, from the U.S. naval forces, the U.S. armed forces, the Russian fleet, okay, the Chinese fleet, and there's talks in the intelligence community that the Democrats want the UN to come in, okay, and forcibly remove Trump, whom they're gonna claim is a dictator, okay, if he manages to overcome this deal. And you guys, the biggest news out as of yesterday, out of Tuesday, right now it's early Wednesday morning at the recording of this video, the biggest news is that the Supreme Court rejected to hear, okay, the legal argument from Ted Cruz coming out of Pennsylvania, okay, but now Texas has filed suit, and there's at least 10 other states that have already jumped on board there. So just when the Democrats think they get this big win, oh, hallelujah, and they're saying, the Supreme Court's not going to hear it, then it's like the efforts just amplified up, big time. And from what I'm being told, now the U.S. Supreme Court has to hear the case, that's being brought, okay, by states like Texas and Louisiana, a coalition of states against these battleground states, because they're saying that it directly impedes their citizens' ability to vote in the U.S. election whenever there's rampant fraud that's allowed to go on in those battleground states. So anyway, saints, pray, brace yourself. And I just wanted to make you aware of this, okay? It's looking more and more, you guys, like there's a possibility that we could see a literal fulfillment to Dana Coverstone's dream. So, pray, you guys. Just pray. We need to fast. We need to pray. And we need to look to God during these times. God bless you. Hey, I want to thank you for watching this video on my YouTube channel. Be sure to click the button over here and you can subscribe to our channel and get all the videos that come available right when we release them. Or you can click this button right here and watch another video right now. God bless you.